second thing is that you're going to repeal the death tax. I don't know how many other taxes. Where's all the money coming from?
Well, the thing about this is in the long-term budget, in the 10-year budget. So, and the only way you're going to fix prescription drugs and also the reimbursement issue for our hospitals and healthcare providers is to have new dollars into the system, and that's what this is for. As far as any kind of relating this to taxes, I don't. There's no relationship as far as the revenues. I mean, they're according to projections out there because of the war, because of the recession, because of the economic impact of last September 11th. We've had a downturn, but projections are now that the revenues will increase, and the Joint Economic Task Force say without any kind of tax relief last year, that we would have had a much deeper recession and would be in a much worse fiscal situation today than what we are. So, which would happen anyway. The biggest liability we have in the federal government, and we've paid off over the past 4 years about $500 billion of debt. The hit that we've taken since September 11th has been real. We have spent a lot more money as far as security issues, and it's real. Those are real dollars that are going out. But again, the fact of the matter is that you would not see any kind of hope for recovery, and that's the money that we had before coming in was basically because of the economy was growing at a rate in which the federal government, God knows we love to spend money, that more money was coming in than we could spend. And that has changed since September 11th.
Your spending habits have.
Uh,
But your spending habits have.
well, that's.
Yeah. You got an inflated farm bill that's way out of line. And a number of other areas
You're looking
where
at a
we
guy who
continue to
voted
spend
against the
money
farm
for
bill.
things that we can't afford.
I voted against the farm bill, maybe for that, for several different reasons.
You got to take some of the responsibility because it was your Congress that passed it.
Okay. It's very fair. Although I voted against it for a lot of this time. Yes.
I'm a bit naive, but how and why are we the 50th on reimbursement? And why is that not equitable throughout the country? I don't quite understand.
Well, you have to remember who wrote Medicare to start with, and who controlled Congress. It was the urban liberal leadership that controlled Congress for 4 years, wrote Medicare. So they took a picture at that moment of what health care looked like with the boost for them to start with. And when you increase something, and I think most of you folks are well aware of the miracle of compound interest, but if you started with a higher amount to begin with and a lower amount, increase the same percentage rate over time, the disparity gets worse and worse. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why it is absolutely critical for health care, quality health care, and access to health care that we fix the problem today. And you remember, I mean, the house is based on population. It's a very urban body. And so the fix that we got in this bill is dramatic, it's real, and that's why that is as important or more important to me than even the drug benefit to finally address that problem. And that's what we fought like crazy to try and get it. And we just said there's no way we're going to support something that doesn't fix our problem. But it's just like Medicare today not having a drug coverage. It's the same 1965 model of health care we're living with today as the same model of the formula in 1965. It doesn't reflect reality. And you got to remember who wrote the bill.
Is the predicament I was in that situation similar to other rural states?
There's a lot of rural states that have lower reimbursement. because there is the labor factor is a huge part of the reimbursement issue. And when you look at that picture that was taken in 65 in comparison to urban areas, the labor rates were much lower in this part of the country than they were in the urban areas. And that's been just made worse and worse over time. So we fixed the real change in the formula. We take away the reductions for home health care, actually what increases and then take away the reductions for doctors. And actually for our hospitals, on top of the change in the formula, they get a 5% bonus increase each of the next 3 years on top of that to try and make up some of that loss that we had. That's why, again, the healthcare providers are with us 100%.
How does your $33 premium cost, how is that does that look like that's going to stay that way for a while, or are we going to see some increase?
That is, the projection is $33. Now, there's no fixed number in Medicare Part B. There's no, I mean, that's, there can be revisions over time, absolutely. But that's what the estimate is right now as to where it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, Medicare Part B, like you said, went up last year, so it's not unreasonable to assume that there, over time would be small increases, but that is what they're estimating to be the cost. They also project that 97% of seniors will sign up. For this
I'll say since it's voluntary, you can have a lot of them drag their feet.
Well, I think if you've got $2,000 of drug costs a year, and you've got a plan that will save you 45% of that cost, you'll sign up. And that is on top of 45% of a reduced cost of prescription drugs to begin with of 30%.
When will we see that reduction?
You would see the reduction almost immediately when the bill is signed. They say within 50 days of signing of the bill, you will see the reduction in the cost of the prescription.
Is that fast full succession?
When the Senate's going to have to act on it, the president, like he said, will sign this. Yes, sir.
This 350 million or billion should be
Don't get
good.
your millions and billions.
No, I understand our country's in bad shape, but this 350 billion should be good till 2010, you're saying, projected.
Actually, 2012, it's 10
Okay.
years.
So, me being a baby boomer, most of us baby boomers should be able to afford our own health insurance anyway. Most of this money is going to people that are low income, right?
That's correct. That will have the biggest benefit for the most needy seniors will get the biggest benefit by far. If you're 150% of poverty, you would not have any deductible or any premium. And that's on a sliding scale up to 175%. But if you're currently eligible for Medicaid, you would not have any co-pays, you would not have anything. Excuse me, copay, you'll always have, if you go in and get a prescription on a generic drug, you'll always pay $2. If it's a non-prescription, non-generic, you'd probably pay $5. But there would not be any kind of percentage, 80-20, government would pay for it all. If you're in that most affects 70% of the people who are 150% or less of poverty are single women in Medicare. On average, a male in Social Security has twice the benefits of a female.
From your vantage viewpoint, what percentage you get the chance of this bill?
I think now that we have passed it, we've done the heavy lifting on the House side, I would hope you folks would get real busy and put a lot of pressure on the Senate. And quite honestly, I would hope that, I really, if they pass what they're talking about, fine. Let's get it to conference so we can get something done one way or another. And that's why I say I really, the partisan stuff,